Good day, everybody, and welcome to the Browns pregame show here on the Fanatical Elfz Network. Browns versus the Bills down at Huntington Bank Field at 1 p.m. Maybe you're already down there getting ready to root on your Cleveland Brownies. Nice sunny day here in Columbus. I'm sure it looks like it's sunny up there in Cleveland as well. And you're getting ready to root on those Brownies. So Shedeur Sanders gets the start. And Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson have been the storyline with the supposed quarterback competition. We'll see how things go this afternoon. I think many people have come to the conclusion that Deshaun Watson, in all likelihood, is going to be the week 1 starter, but there's this game this afternoon. Can Shedeur shine? Can he do all these things that everyone hopes that he can do? There are some of you who are really supportive of Shedeur, and there's others of you who don't hate Shedeur, but you're hoping he succeeds. And I don't think there are a lot of Browns fans who really want to see Deshaun out there in week 1. I know some of you out there in social media, La La Land are critical of that, and you are like, well, we're Browns fans. We need to support whoever's out there. And that's true. But I've written about it a little bit this week for Dog Pound Daily and talked a little bit about it on Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders. Both periodicals, check those out that I write for. And we've had our moments. Kyle Brand of the NFL Network spoke of it. I wrote about that earlier too. His like, what are we doing? It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. And having Deshaun out there in week 1 would just be that. And I think most Browns fans want to get behind this team. They're excited about some of the young players. They're excited about having a new head coach, the 60-year-old Todd Monken, who's the football guy. I think there's some, real energy there. Folks are hoping that this season turns out to be far better than they kind of feel deep down. Like, is this just going to be another Browns season? Don't see. It's preseason. None of these games count. I was looking at the calendar. The Browns don't play they don't play their season opener in week 1 down in Jacksonville for 3 more weeks. They have a preseason game next week, Thursday, against the New England Patriots. And then you have an entire 2.5 weeks after that before the Browns actually still play a game. And the Browns home opener isn't until September 27th down on the Lakeshore. September 27th. It's August 22nd today. So over a month and a week, 5 weeks practically, until the Browns have their home opener. There's going to be a lot of conversation between now and then, and we just have to wait and see. I think as a lifelong fan, and a lot of us Browns fans have been fans for a long time. By the way, go listen back to the Browns Blitz with Rod Bloom and Jeff, his brother, and their guest Tom Brunswick, I believe, who spoke very fondly of being a Browns fan and what it means to be a Browns fan. And he talked a lot about family, and I could not agree more. I think it's what makes being a Browns fan all about. And speaking of that, family feeling, last night, Nick Chubb, the great Cleveland Brown, one of the greatest Cleveland Browns of all time, decided to retire. He's 30 years old. I would not have thunk 2 or 3 seasons ago that we would be discussing Nick Chubb retiring. I'll talk about it more on my Johnny Cleveland podcast coming up on Monday. And we might have a post-game show after this Bills game. But Nick Chubb was everything. And, I look over here to my left, up here in my Brownie loft, and I have a canvas painting of Nick Chubb. And it'll be there for my lifetime. And he meant a lot to the Cleveland Browns fan base. He spent 8 seasons in the NFL, 7 of them with the Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately, he had a couple knee injuries when he was in college, and then had a devastating 3rd knee injury when he was unkindly tackled by a Pittsburgh Squealer that really set him back, and now he's retired. It's a sad way to end a career as far as the injury is concerned, and we'll like I said, I'll talk more about it on Monday, but he did so many amazing things as a Cleveland Brown, and many people have talked about he was the closest to what Jim Brown used to be like back in the 60s and 50s when he played for the Browns, and people that are old enough to remember Jim Brown running. Nick Chubb was special. So we'll talk about more about that. So, but congratulations to Nick Chubb on announcing his retirement. I know that that was probably something very difficult for a young person who just turned 30 to do, but his perspective on it and what he wrote about his retirement, I think speaks volumes about who he was as a who he is as a human being. And I look forward to seeing what Nick Chubb does next in his career. Maybe not in football, but I'm sure he'll be doing lots of things. So the Brownies play down at the stadium again today. We're going to pause here for a quick commercial break. When we return, we'll talk about who's out for this game and about Shedeur Sanders. We'll be right back. Hey, we are back here on the Browns pregame for the Fanatical Kickoff show. Yeah, we'll be doing more of these shows as we get going into the actual regular season. I know many of you are probably outside doing something fun. Maybe you're going to the Browns preseason game. I do have season tickets. I am credentialed. I'll be doing some games with down there, courtesy of Northeast Ohio Sports Insider. So catch those articles coming up later this fall. So the Browns today have Shedeur starting. There will be a smattering of players that will be starting or who will be out today. They came out with that list in Cleveland. Just on the defensive side of the ball, Tyson Campbell, the cornerback, will not be playing today. Also, those cornerbacks. We have such issue at the cornerback position. Cornerbacks D'Angelo Ross, Miles Bryant will all be out. On the defensive line, we've got Parker. Well, no, the offensive guy, Parker Bladesford, will be out. The rookie that they got from Alabama. Tyreek Sapp, Travis Bell, Daquan Wright, Alex Wright. Alex Wright went down with an apparent sort of, it looked like an ankle or some sort of injury to the lower leg extremity this week. But on the video, you can see him kind of hobbling up, but we haven't heard anything officially about his injury. And some people are speculating that it's far more serious than we might have thought initially. So that's kind of worrisome because the Browns are really lacking at the defensive end position. They did, trade for Jared Verse and got rid of Myles Garrett. But if Alex Wright goes down, we had two guys pass on coming to the Browns, veterans Zadarius Smith included in that. So we'll see what the Browns do. I know a lot of people are hoping the Browns defense does some great things. They had their scrimmage against the Bills earlier in the week, and their secondary kind of got exposed in a few plays, especially by Josh Allen, of the Bills quarterback. So I don't think this Browns. I'm a little nervous going into all of this, the regular season. I know there's, like I just said, there's always this euphoria and excitement building up to the beginning of a regular season, but there are a lot of red flags. So the Browns certainly need some depth at the cornerback position. They need some help in that secondary. And on the offensive side of the ball, the Browns are going to miss Quinshon Judkins. Exactly what's going on with him. Probably just precautionary leaving him out right now. But the Browns running game is, I'm a little nervous about it. I know a lot of you are still high on what we have there, but we'll see how the offensive line comes together. I think some of you, we've talked about the offensive line kind of coming together with Spencer Fanow and some of these other guys that the Browns have traded for. Hopefully they will be better. I was not totally impressed, especially with the backups on the offensive line in the first preseason games. So we'll see what they do in this game against the Bills. Neither team's going to be playing all of their starters. So not sure what to make of all of it, but it will be at least interesting to watch, and we'll have more to talk about. Now, when Todd Monken decides to make this announcement of the quarterback position, will be interesting. Will it be, Monday? Will it be tomorrow? If Shedeur goes out there and throws a couple deep balls for touchdowns, does that change the scenario? I mean, we all know, we've talked about this endlessly, that the fans are not going to be behind Deshaun Watson. We know We just know that it's 6 years. We know the fans have booed, and there will be boo birds out there. And I know some of you think that that's totally disrespectful, and you're not being a Browns fan. But hey, everybody has their own opinion about this guy. Obviously, the Browns go into the regular season. They win the first two regular season games down on the road in Jacksonville and Tampa Bay. Maybe that changes the narrative, but I don't think that's going to be happening. I think Baker Mayfield, for example, is right there on his list of important things to do. He knows that that's priority to beat the Brownies. So, hey, if the Browns can pull out a win down in Jacksonville or Tampa Bay, great. But we'll wait and see how it all pans out. Okay, so the Browns are going to be playing here in just a little bit less than an hour. It's 12:14, so about 45 minutes. They're going to be on the field to play. Let you get back to your regular programming and watch Shador battle the Buffalo Bills. I'm rooting for Shador. I think that he's the guy. I think the Browns are wasting their time putting Deshaun Watson out there, especially as a week one starter. I think you got to see what you got in Shador, and I think you got to give him the season. And if it doesn't work out, then you're looking at draft picks in 2027, which we're already talking about. All right, folks, have a good rest of your afternoon. Go Browns. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you maybe after the game. See ya.